The house behind me was built in 1905 by C.W. Stone. It replaced a house that was on this site earlier. It burned in a fire. The only remaining portion of the original house is what is now referred to as the studio, a small white frame building behind this building connected by a porte-cochere. That was Mr. Stone's law library after this house was built. Mr. Stone was a state senator. He was our state attorney general and eventually became a U.S. congressman. When this house was built, again in 1905, Mr. Stone was a friend of John Wanamaker, who had the Wanamaker Furniture Company. Went to his friend and said, "I need to furnish this house." So the house was built in 1905 and furnished in 1905 with period furniture. It's kind of a blending of styles. The architect of this house was a local architect named Edward A. Phillips. He was our town's most prolific architect. He came here from Buffalo. And he loved blending different styles. In this building, we can see Georgian influence and Greek Revival influence, even a little bit of Carpenter Gothic influence on some of the railings on the upstairs porches. To classify the house overall, I would say it's classical revival, but again, it's an eclectic mix of architectural styles. The third floor of the house contains a ballroom. The second floor the house contains bedrooms and with bathrooms. The house had its own firefighting provisions. There was a large hose in the hallway on the second floor if a fire needed to be put out. The first floor contains a library and a dining room, a very large living room with a huge fireplace. One of the previous owners had two grand pianos in the living room facing each other, just to give you some idea of the proportion of this house. Behind the house is a very large carriage house. It could hold many horses and originally was built to be able to hold 4 carriage rigs in the carriage house. There were also servant quarters back there, as well as servant quarters on the third floor of the dwelling.